Ohio Wrestlecast. We're here live, Dalton, Ohio, for Autism Awareness. We got one of the stars here tonight that we're going to be talking to. This is my personal friend, Mr. Insanity Toby Klein. Thanks for taking the time, man. Take a few minutes to talk to us.
No problem.
Me and you could just shoot the shit for as long as we wanted to, but I figured we'll, for our fans, for some of your fans, you know, talk about your career a little bit and what you got going on now. You just told me a really cool story about the belt in front of us.
Yeah, this was the ASWA heavyweight title, and I was the last one to hold that belt.
And you had a nice lengthy run there.
This belt was retired, and Fulton beat me, and this belt went with me, and he got the new ASWA title.
Was that your last match as well when you lost the belt? Or?
No, I had a rematch.
Okay.
I did a rematch for the belt, and I lost the rematch, and so...
then you were going to take it easy, but you just told me also that somebody might be luring you back into the ring for one more, not a match, but for a fight.
Yeah, JJ DeVille, he threw a challenge out there.
I know JJ well. JJ he's a good wrestler, but he's a hothead. He might be in over his head on this one.
Yep, I had the match signed and sealed on the last Mansfield show in April here, so June 15th is the match.
June 15th, so, Mansfield? Street fight?
Street fight.
I've shared the ring with you a few times, and never in a street fight though. I was lucky enough to come out just in a regular wrestling match.
I don't know how we didn't fight in a street fight. It seems like the only thing people wanted to put me in.
Everybody else did. Yeah. Well, actually, you know, it was a good story. You remember that trip down to Georgia? I think it was you and Cole against Shasta and Brain Damage. And I remember you saying something like, "Why do I always got to do the street fights, the bloody fights? I can't wrestle Wilbur, just have a regular match." I was like, that's a compliment. I'll take that.
I'll be totally honest with you. That trip, I was going through a divorce, and I don't even remember the drive there or the drive back.
I don't know.
I remember wearing a mask and facing Buff Bagwell, so I must have had double duty on that show.
It's a possibility, yeah. That was actually that's a great memory for me, man. I was like, that was a road trip with all the boys, long 11-hour road trip.
I think I slept most of the road trip. I think I was sleeping in the back most of the time.
You were well respected enough that you were allowed to sleep in the back. If I would have gone back in the back, probably would have gotten messed with by you or Jeb or one of those guys. Talk a little bit about your career. We got CZW Hall of Fame. It was the XICW Hall of Fame. You built your name for sure in the King of the Deathmatch tournaments. You want to share any stories with that? I know the first one I seen, I think it was maybe 03 with you and Necro was the first round match, which was I think
King of the Death, IWA Mid-South, yeah.
IWA Mid-South out in Indiana, yeah.
I started doing the death matches in 1998 was my first one.
Okay.
Me and Kid Collins did a whole year of matches, and it was called the Gore for the Gold Tour. And every match had a different stipulation of some kind. There was a barbed wire match, there was a thumbtack match, just a no DQ street fight. Every match, every other month there was a show, and for the whole year, and each one we did a different street fight. And then after that, going into 1999, I started working for Ian Rotten at IWA Mid-South, and then within that same time period, CZW, Mike Burns of Smart Mark Video had contacted me and offered me a chance to go out there and team with Necro.
Right.
And then me and Necro ended up having a feud out there as well. So it seems like early on in my death matches, I was either teaming with Necro Butcher or fighting Necro Butcher.
Which one was better?
Teaming with because I'm missing a bunch of teeth because of his punches. So
those are just the punches, which
I got him back though. I knocked out some of his too.
I've seen it. I've seen the videos. For anybody out there who hasn't seen it, check out anything from Mr. Insanity Toby Klein. The IWA Mid-South King of Deathmatch. CZW also had
Tournament of Death. CZW Tournament of Death and
CZW
Cage of Death.
Cage of Death. You participated in all of those.
I think I did 4 or 5 of the Tournament of Deaths and at least 4 or 5 of the Cage of Deaths.
Okay.
I was in the original Tournament of Death against Nick Gage. The first tournament in 2000, the first one they had.
Still out there doing it, which is crazy as well. I always wanted to ask you, I think now my years get messed up, but I think that you finished second in the IWA King of the Deathmatch tournament to Corporal Robinson, if I'm not mistaken.
In 04.
In 04, and then you won it the next year, correct?
Yep, and then in the 06, the third year, I went to the finals too. So as far as I know, I was the only competitor to do the finals 3 years in a row.
And my question for you is that maybe one of the worst spots you could be in is to get booked as the runner-up? You're in all the matches.
Do all of them.
And then you don't get the glory of winning the tournament?
I got the same payday as I would have if I would have won it.
Well, that's ultimately what's important.
I've heard of all kinds of crazy stories about Ian, about people saying, "Oh, he owes me money" or whatever. Never once did I ever get paid one penny less than what he promised me.
Always took care of you on those.
There's only one promoter that shorted me on pay over the years, and I think we both worked for him. But we won't bring that up.
We don't have to bring that up. The fact that you were actually
he paid me in pills a couple times.
Yeah,
at the time, as bad as I was in my addiction, I was fine with that. I accepted it.
I was paid in a meal and a toke myself a couple of times. Yeah, that's how some of those shows ran. But your deathmatch career got you overseas, got you a tour of Japan.
Big Japan. I went three tours of Japan.
Yeah,
Big Japan.
And I know from talking to you, that was always your dream, man.
I was there for a month. One time, 45 days another, and then 60 days the final time.
Really, really cool. Any experiences that you want to talk about over there? I mean, again, I know that was one of your ultimate goals, was to get over there.
Yeah, it was fun. There was a lot of good wrestlers: Abdullah Kobayashi, Jun Kasai, Shadow WX. I got to travel with Masada and Madman Pondo and Too Tough Tony. So it was a good crew of guys. The first time I went in early '05, it was me and Zach Gowen that made the trip over together. And I got to tour with Zach. He had been fresh out of WWE at that time, so that was a fun part of my life at that time. I was going through a divorce in my personal life about all that time while I was going to Japan, so it sort of got me through the midst of all that mess while I was going over there. It helped my mood and helped get me on at least something to concentrate my time on. My addiction spiraled because of it, though, but my personal life was in shambles. But my wrestling career, I was getting booked and going all over. So
I unfortunately dealt with going through a divorce also, and I found with wrestling, it was one of those things where it's like, at least you felt at home. At least you knew you were in control of it. At least there was one thing that you knew that you were good at, because everything else was
deranged. Big Brandon. He told me, he said, "You're clumsy. You can't walk. You can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. But if you put ring ropes around the world, you'd be fine. You'd be graceful." He said, "When you're in the wrestling ring, you're fine, but outside the ring, you're a clumsy mess."
I think a lot of us are that way, buddy. I really do. Well, I appreciate you sitting down for a few minutes. Really do. And again, we could do this all day. We could just shoot the shit and talk all day. But we got some fans coming in for this great event, and everybody, if you get a last chance, come down to Dalton, Ohio. Check us out for the Autism Awareness Show. Again, Toby, thanks again, man.
Good seeing you.
Good seeing you.